Hello guys, today I'm going to show you how to make AI generated game assets. They are far from being perfect, but in my opinion they are better than no custom meshes at all. I will show how it's done by creating this sword, using the Tencent Huni1 website. Starting by generating an image with Huni1 Image 3.0, you should be able to follow along by using any image generation website you want. We'll convert the image into a 3D model using the Huni1 3D Studio. Generate the textures. Finally, clean the mesh in Blender. And bake the texture maps. Let's get started. To access the websites used in this video, you need to create a Tencent Huni1 account. Enter your email on the top text box. Then click on the button next to the bottom text box. You should receive a code on your email from Tencent. Check on the spam folder if you do not find it on the main folder. Click on the black button. Your account is now created. The links to follow along this tutorial are on the video description. Unfortunately, both websites used in this video are in Chinese, but if you click exactly where I clicked, you should be able to follow along. I am going to ask it to generate 4 images of swords, and then I will pick the best image so we can generate our mesh. This will take some time, so I'll be back when it's done. We have our images now. As I ask it to generate 4 images, I can pick the one who looks the best. This one looks more like a dagger. Let's check some of the images generated. Good enough, I used this one for the tutorial today. So I'm going to download this image. On Huni1 3D Studio, let's generate a mesh based on this image. I will upload my image into Huni1 3D Studio. This website has a limit of how many meshes you can generate per day. You can always generate meshes in other websites, but at least for now, this website is where I got the best results. It should take some time, so I'll be back when it's done. Now we got our mesh, but we need to generate textures for it. You can go into the same tab where you go in order to generate your textures. It will use the image that was used to create the mesh. That should also take some time, so I'll be back when it's done. The texture is now generated. Let's turn this mesh and texture into a game ready asset on Blender. Now I'm gonna click on the export button and export it as GLB. I will save the mesh on my downloads folder. Open Blender and delete the default objects. You can import the mesh by dragging and dropping into the main window. Let's look at the mesh generated to see what we are working with. It has a few issues that I will address. As you can see, way too many polygons to be used in a game. I will add a weld modifier to fix any loose edges, and a decimate modifier to reduce the number of polygons. It looks a lot better now. You can play around with the settings to see what works best for you. Once you are happy with the results, apply the decimate modifier. Now let's look at the mesh at the UV tab. The UV looks pretty bad. I think we should improve it. To do so, press A, click on UV, Smart UV Project, then Unwrap. It looks a lot better now, but the UV is no longer aligned with the textures. We are going to address this issue right now. Let's go back to the Layout tab. I will open my Downloads folder and import the High Poly Mesh again. Let's go into the Shading tab. I will disable and enable the visibility of one of the meshes to figure out which one is the high poly mesh. On the low poly mesh, press F3 to open the menu. Search for image texture and select it. Then click on New and choose 4096 by 4096. Click on New Image. Click on the high poly mesh, then Ctrl left click on the low poly mesh. Go into the Render tab. Choose Cycles. Change the maximum samples to 1. We do not need more than 1. On Bake, choose Normal. Enable Selected to Active. Set the extrusion size to 0.1. Finally, click on Bake. As you can see, it generated a normal map for the low poly mesh based on the high poly mesh. Add another image texture. The size should be the same. Click on New Image. Let's rename the textures to keep things organized. Now we're going to bake the diffuse map. Let's go back to the high poly mesh. Connect the color texture into the emissive. Set the strength to 1. Click on the high poly mesh, then Ctrl click on the low poly mesh. Click on the texture. Set the bake type to emissive. You can use the emissive to bake any texture you want, like roughness and metallic. Once you click on bake, you'll see that the color texture is baked. Let's connect the textures we created to preview the final results. Now, if you look at the final mesh, you can see that it looks as good as the high poly mesh, but is now low poly. The high poly mesh does not work very well for games, but this one is much better. All that's left to do is export the assets we created. You can go into the UV tab and select the image you want to export. Click on Image, then click on Save As. Choose the folder where you want to save the image and click on Save. Let's do the same for the other texture. Finally, we can export the mesh. Go into File, Export, OBJ. Choose the folder where you want the mesh to be and give it a name, and click on Export Wavefront Object. I realized I made a mistake. This is how you use the normal map in Blender. You can press F3 to open the menu and type normal map. Thank you guys for watching. If you wanna know how to add assets to the game, you can check out the first episode of this series. I will for sure do more tutorials like this one in the future. The assets made in this tutorial are available to download in the video description.